Food security experts say the entire population of Gaza will likely fall into famine if Israel doesn't lift its blockade. Integrated food security phase classification finds nearly 500,000 Palestinians are living in, quote, catastrophic levels of hunger and facing possible starvation. It also says 1 million others can barely get enough food. I want to bring in Mercy Corps Vice President of Global Policy and Advocacy, Kate Phillips-Barrasso, for more. Kate, thanks for coming on. This report projects 71,000 children and more than 17,000 mothers will soon need urgent treatment for acute malnutrition. What does that look like?
Well, what that looks like is complete desperation. While these numbers that you just listed are shocking, they're not surprising. The conditions have been lining up for a while for hunger on this level and acute malnutrition on this level. And what it looks like to a mother who can't feed her child or breastfeed her child, it really is unimaginable. There is truly nothing left in Gaza after 2 months of a blockade and 20 months of war for people to sustain themselves on. And we have reached a point, as you noted, where 1 in 5 people are projected by the end of September to be actively in famine.
Communal kitchens are virtually the only remaining source of food for most people in Gaza. But just last week, dozens closed because of lack of supplies. So what happens to the people who were lining up there trying to get a meal? Where do they go now?
Well, the fact of the matter is there really is nowhere left to go. Over the course of this crisis, there obviously have been a lot of shortages, periods where very little humanitarian assistance was getting in due to some of the measures that have been taken to close down the border, et cetera. But we really are at a point where, with no breakthrough in the negotiations, no commercial or humanitarian goods having come in for over 60 days, where there is nothing left to give out to people. That's why you see those community kitchens closing. There is nothing left to buy. What little is left to buy is there at exorbitant prices, given the scarcity. We're hearing from our staff, that a bag of flour now costs something like $500 on the market, and that prices have surged over the course of this conflict by 500%. So the average person cannot afford to buy anything, and there is nothing left for humanitarian organizations to go out. So we are truly at the end of the line.
So what are they doing? How are people trying to get by?
People are really managing on what little they may have left. We hear, everyone who has something is mostly eating canned goods, dried goods if they can find them or if they had managed to stockpile a little. We're also hearing stories from our staff about people who are walking around in a daze, literally emaciated, fainting, just basically focusing all of their attention on where the next meal for themselves and their family will come from. So it is really a situation of utter desperation. There's not a single person in Gaza right now who is not having trouble finding food. And again, if we can open the borders, all of the food that is needed is literally miles away from the people who are experiencing these conditions. So we really urge that solutions are found to get food in quickly, because we have arrived at a point, we fear, of no return, especially for those acutely malnourished children.
Israel says the blockade is meant to pressure Hamas to release the remaining hostages and that it won't let aid back until someone other than Hamas is controlling the distribution of that aid. And it also says enough assistance entered Gaza during the 2-month ceasefire earlier this year. What's your response to that? And where do you see this going?
Well, in terms of, there's enough food remaining to assist people, that's simply not the case. The Gaza Strip relied heavily on outside goods, whether commercial or humanitarian, before the conflict, and they don't come from anywhere else. And all the food systems, agriculture, fishing, everything else where they could depend on themselves has been destroyed in the fighting during the conflict. So if you shut down literally everything that's going in, there will be nothing left. And so what little came in over the course of the war has been depleted. So we really do urge, to the authorities to move forward and making sure that these conditions aren't realized by September and that we don't see a mass starvation event.
All right, Kate Phillips-Barrasso, we appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you.